Well, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting a repeat of audio on my end, which is wild. But I do want to say, hey, how's it going? Welcome to that game place. And I appreciate all of you being here. We've got a great show planned for you all. We've got two great panelists so far, and probably one or two more on the way. We've got just stories I can't believe nobody's covered yet, and stories that you may have heard of, but not from our particular point of view. But let's introduce our first two panelists, the people that I rely on regularly to make sure we have content for each and every one of you. We've got our good friend Jonas J. Campbell and Marvin the Movie Monster. Greetings, gentlemen. How are you today?
Hello, culture.
Hey, it's great to see you both. Thank you for being here. Oh, any insight that you have, Jonas, to share with anybody today? Because you usually have something wonderful to say.
You want me to say something nice? You know what? We are blessed every morning that you wake up alive. You are blessed. That's what I have to say about that. I got to say there are wonderful things going on in the world. There were wonderful things going on a week ago. Sometimes you got to look a little harder to find them, but you know what? We have got it pretty good for the most part.
All right. Well, I just want to say that's a good way to look at things. Marvin, what's an orange monster like you got as far as news goes? I heard you got a new thing that you do now.
Yes, I am the editor-in-chief of thatparkplace.com, which is a site that you might have heard of. And if you're not bookmarking it, well, you should, if that's not a copywritten phrase. But yeah, so we are chugging along. It took over this week, and we have been covering a lot of very big gaming news over there, and that is not changing anytime soon. So I think we're going to talk about some of that today.
Yeah, and we'll get into it. We got some really strange stories. We're going to start out with a Blizzard one, believe it or not. But I just wanted to say thank you to the Platinum Trophy winner here. Makini Draws started off another month as the #1 in the clubhouse guy as far as support for the channel. And we've got, today's trophies up for grabs: gold, silver, and bronze. Now, with all of that being taken care of, I think we need to jump into the first story. What do you gentlemen say? You want to?
That sounds great to me. Is there anything going on with video games these days?
There's a lot to go. I can't believe the number of stories that came out. WDW Pro's been writing stories about video games. I've been writing stories about, well, not video games this week, but there's a lot of stories being written, and we're going to cover this first one from That Park Place. Blizzard is preparing another Warcraft Reforged attempt. They're looking at Legendary Warcraft 2 title, and they're going to be remastering it. Now, Jonas, have you looked at this? Do you think this is a good plan? Or are people going to go back and play this older style game?
If we're talking about Warcraft 2 and the old original days of online play there, yeah, I think I could. I might be persuaded to play this as long as there's not any weird agenda stuff in there. It's probably my favorite Warcraft game ever. So I maybe I could give them a chance.
Yeah, I have tried so many times to get into Warcraft, and it has never worked. Not one time.
Okay, but did you play Command and Conquer?
I did not. So, maybe I'll try again.
Well, I mean, this game in particular isn't, World of Warcraft. This is Warcraft. This is like, StarCraft. It's like, hey, strategize, conquer, win.
Yeah, I will say that my general idea here was never strategize. It was never speed. It was always overbuild and then obliterate the enemy. That was generally my strategy when playing Warcraft 2.
Now, in writing this story, we go down memory lane with Pro, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit so we can talk about Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness. This was an interesting game. It was forever entertaining as far as he's concerned, with mesmerizing gameplay, and I will have to agree. Since then, it's kind of been a mixed bag. I agree. When Activision Blizzard purchased by Microsoft, the company that managed to somehow fumble away the gargantuan success of Overwatch, which I'm still trying to figure out, is having difficulty pretty much on every front, including on finding their footing with their remakes. So they have tried to remaster their classic hits. It's often been difficult for them. They've not been able to do it. And the most glaring example is Warcraft 3 Reforged, a title that not only remade the game into an unplayable disaster, but also took a 15-year-old title and forced a mandatory update that destroyed it forever. Of course, I agree. Imagine if Nintendo somehow was able to put out an update that destroyed every copy of Super Mario 64 in existence, made it unplayable, and then never fixed it because it was too hard. Yeah, that's the level of failure Blizzard pulled with Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Huh, I never knew this story.
Yeah. So, not all has been terrible. Blizzard managed to put out a very well-received remaster of the original StarCraft, which I have somewhere. They mostly performed well when they recreated Diablo 2. Yeah, it was all right. Now they're ready to pull the trigger on perhaps the single most important game for their early days, Warcraft 2, which I loved.
Oh,
Jonas,
great game. Absolutely great game. It was, none of this worry. I mean, there was a little bit of storyline in there. There was a storyline, but none of this thing where you had to have a hero character. In fact, I liked Arthas right at the start in Warcraft 3, but then they turned him evil, and I felt like I had no choice in that. So it made me very frustrated to be playing as a character and then for that character to decide to be evil. So Warcraft 2, none of that. You had your orcs and your humans and all the charming little things that they would say when you clicked on them. It was a simpler time, I do realize, but this was just a fun strategy game, and it was also at the time where if you wanted to cheat a little to boost your stats, you could do that, and nobody was the wiser because it was just you and the game.
Yeah, and it was like your own version of auto balancing, right, Jonas?
Yeah. Of course, you do it too much, and it takes the fun out of it.
Then it's like,
stay away from those demons.
Yeah, I just want to stomp on this. I don't want to even try. Nah, most people want a bit of a challenge, but look,
yes, absolutely.
One of the big things that'll change here won't be the audio, as Pro points out here, because the music, the sound effects, all of that's all classic. You're not going to mess with that. What you will mess with is the graphics. So they're going to translate it into 1080p or 4K. I think that's the only place where I'm going to be like, how are they going to do that? So, according to Ryan Pearson over at Bounding Into Comics, we'll read a little excerpt here. The supposed existence of this remaster was first brought to light courtesy of user Anshlin on the World of Warcraft-centric Wowhead forums, sharing a number of high-resolution logos and graphics related to the project, and explained that he discovered these assets thanks to Blizzard having recently pushed an update to their CDNs, their content delivery networks, that includes a new title, Warcraft 2 Remastered Internal Alpha. So that's usually telling us that something's on the way. Speaking of on the way and bounding into comics at the same time, our good friend Spencer's joining us. Hello, Spencer.
It's me, just getting off of a Bounding Into Comics meeting.
All right. Oh. Well, now you're in a team that gameplays meeting. So welcome.
I hope this isn't a meeting because I thought we were just hanging out.
Yeah, we're saying hi to everybody. But anyway, so this time around, let's hope Blizzard gets it right, at least with Warcraft 2. It seems very difficult for them to manage to go back and ruin the game retroactively with forced online updates. After all, Warcraft 2 was back in the LAN days, just at the dawn of the internet. And so you really didn't end up with that happening. Now, since this is your outlet, my friend, Mr. Spencer.
That it is.
Tell us a little bit, since it was utilized in our companion sites, that Park Place. Tell us a little bit about what you were to discover about this, or if you had any insight about this game, and if you're interested in playing it.
No, I don't really have any more insight than you guys already covered. Ryan pretty much hit all the big points. A update to the back end of Blizzard's stuff showed these logos. It's probably going to get revealed tomorrow during their live stream. There is a genuine concern about the remaster efforts because we know that really none of them have gone that great so far. And unfortunately, I was more of a StarCraft guy growing up because I like space more than I like sword and sorcery. So I probably won't play it, but I hope it turns out for everybody who does, because I know how big of a game it is.
Yeah, well, I love the game. I will likely buy this and try to play it and fall in love with it all over again. Hopefully Jonas does as well. Maybe we can play together. That'll make that'll make
I
me
might
feel
actually enjoy Warcraft for the first time if I actually played with you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Get
you
in
can
on the
play too.
RTS action.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to say you're
something.
probably all better at it than me, including Marvin, who has not played it. So,
All right. Well, I feel really excited. I'm looking forward to it. Argentum's out there. We got a lot of people that popped in. Good to see you. Caffeinated Wolf is here. Good to see you, Andrew. And a few other folks rolling in the door. And Ken is correct. It's a victory for fabricated Americans. Well, sure.
Yes. Finally, it's about time we got some representation. As somebody, as I said on X after somebody made that joke, I said, "Look, there are many puppets in journalism. I will not be one of them."
Hey, you're different. You're a different kind of one.
that's perfect.
Poem says, Warcraft was my franchise. I'm very interested to see if this modern Blizz can pull this off. I hope so. We'll take a look. We'll reckon that they will find challenges along the way. Let's say it that way. Our good friend Butterbiscuit 92 for $5 worth of tokens. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Saying, Marvin, congrats on your promotion. Well, and marriage. Wow. Oh, yeah, that's right. You did get married, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
He's winning across the board.
It's just winning every day.
I've been forced to grow up in the last week. It's been eye opening.
Every day you're winning.
That's the hardest part of all. He has been promoted to husband there.
Yes,
promoted to husband. I'm going to tell you, those duties get a little widespread quickly. So
compensation
three
is not
rings in marriage: the engagement ring, the wedding ring, and the suffering.
It sounds like a Fat Albert joke.
That was such a boomer joke right there.
It is a very bad boomer joke.
Hey, I'm a boomer. We don't make bad jokes.
No,
Boomer Prime, the one before you.
The boomer meme of people hating marriage, I think, has had probably a pretty ridiculous effect on society. Of like, guys, somebody should have been able to, because that's the generation that supposedly would have responded well to a smack upside the head to say, "Hey, the kids are listening."
Right, you grew up on Fred Mertz and
Al Bundy,
the Honeymooners, and Al Bundy. Yeah,
exactly.
Take my wife, please.
Culture, you look like you're either about to unbox something or you're about to eat a pizza. I can't tell which.
Alarmo!
Okay, I'm not distracted. I'm looking for a pen. I'm a boomer. I need a pen.
A pen? Oh, to write down the super chats?
Yeah.
I was going to say, Jonas.
Because I keep track of these great people like Butterbiscuit, who gives us $5 so we have quarters to play arcade games. Wishing you nothing but success, yes, and hope we can hear your culture rant. Let the beard cook. Thank you, my friends. I will try.
You're gonna be ranting on that Park Place later today.
I am.
Once I have time to actually post it.
Yeah, actually, that's true. I actually wrote another article. Well, actually, I guess it's a column. Opinion piece.
It is an editorial column. Yes,
editorial. Thank you. Okay. All right. See, I don't know. I just write things, and people do stuff with it. All right. Well, we got another super chat to get to, and then we got a bunch of stories. I'm not distracted. I need a pen. Anyway, so Jacob Foxfires 964. Thank you, my friend, for $10 worth of quarters. We appreciate it. Or tokens, not Tolkien's tokens. Okay, there we go. Anyway, I don't trust Blizzard at all. They just launched a trailer of Overwatch Classic. Yes, go back to the original for nostalgia bait.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's really weird. As the current version is still on fire. It's a flaming trash fire.
You know,
so bad.
When it comes down to it, it feels like they're copying Fortnite's homework here, because OG Fortnite did so well for Fortnite, and now the rumor is, or maybe they've confirmed it now. This is a problem when you deal in rumors for so long, you forget what's public and what's
right. What's real? What am I not supposed to say? Yeah.
That they're putting an OG Fortnite mode on there, whether or not it's a LTM limited time mode or or some other tile, because now Fortnite is like 6 different games all at once.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
You have build, you have zero build, you have battle royale, you have zero build battle royale.
and even
Yeah.
within those, there are ranked, unranked, private, publics, all those, and they differ according to each one. And now apparently the Music Pass is not a different mode. You just get
now
XP
it's just
for it
all the
forever.
same thing.
It's they're becoming, I don't want to say degree in Disney, because you end up getting, XP for all of it, but it's getting a little weird in there, guys.
Well, look, I mean, if it's not broke, add another wing to it or something. I don't know, but that sounds like what Fortnite's been doing for a while, and when they add the Disney wing, I'm probably going to avoid it a lot.
I don't even know what that's going to be. I'm going to laugh. You guys remember in Wreck-It Ralph 2 when Vanellope and Ralph go to like Disney.com and they just see it's going to be that. Like all of the like flying X-Wings, and then Spider-Man swings by, and then big signs that say, buy princess gear here.
I mean, looking back at it, the idea that they stopped their movie to have an extended ad for one of their own websites, which I believe is defunct now.
It's defunct. The only thing that's left of it is all the internal workings for that Disney experience, My Disney Experience, and all that other garbage built on Go.
Yeah,
everything's built on Go, which is also dead. I mean, it's like, let's stack all our dead things on top of each other.
I can't believe I haven't heard that term used specifically, culture, like Disney Go, in so long. That is so weird.
Yeah.
Go.
There's one thing that I've been debating about whether or not where to mention it, but the new I don't know who on this panel plays Fortnite, but
yes, you do.
I know that I know who plays, and I know that Spencer every now and then you pick it up. But what do you think about the new Battle Pass?
Oh boy,
I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know. It feels weird. It feels like it's all original stuff, and I don't know. I wasn't really jazzed about that. I mean, I guess that's theoretically what Fortnite should be. We should encourage like your own IP and creating your own stuff, but it also gives me little incentive to sort of go through it.
Right. The only thing at this point that I'm interested in the current Battle Pass is if I decided to go above level 100, I think there's some Nike kicks that I don't actually want them, but I'm curious to see what they are, because
that's the new cosmetic, right?
Did you just say kicks?
Yes. Yeah, they're adding shoes that you can put on all of your characters.
No, I know that there's shoes, but you called them kicks.
He's got Skibbity Riz, all right?
Look, all he wants to do is say, hello, fellow kids. And, and go about the day.
You trade in your GAT for GAT, or whatever it is. You guys don't even know the lingo. Oh, whatever. The kicks are a form of drip. Anyhow, they've at least gone away from all the weird and drip. There was a period of Fortnite battle passes where it would be a whole bunch of weird androgynous stuff, and I mean it was so weird. And then they finally have gotten back towards maybe more marketable designs with at least one thing that you would actually want in there. I mean, you would literally look at a skin and be like, I don't know if that's a dude or if that's a lady, and I don't know that I care to find out.
It's Peely.
And they don't have any tie-in skins at this point.
No, that's what was weird.
Season.
Yeah.
What I want is a theme song. Like when you come up near me, it's like I have a theme song playing.
They actually do that.
You can do that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like in your case, you're like looking at something, and the Aerosmith song plays. Dude looks like a lady.
Oddly enough, despite the fact that isn't Guitar Hero harmonics. They did do an Aerosmith version of that, right?
They did.
But there's no Aerosmith in the Music Pass, which I would be pretty tempted to actually buy the Music Pass if they put Aerosmith in there.
Well, I mean, it's maybe they just don't want too much of the shocker. Anyway. For those who
wouldn't
don't
be
know
surprised if
that
that's an emote in there anyways.
Dane Cook's going to be a player now?
Hey, okay, let's get into the next story,
Go to
guys.
the BK Lounge.
Look. I want to say something fun. I want to say something fun. Some games sell okay. It's true. There are some games that actually sell. I'm not kidding. Like there was a game that was like a pre-access, or what were they calling that? Like early access.
Early access, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, there was like a pre-access game that was out for like a year before like everybody like picked it up, right? And it was like I was one of the people playtesting that disaster. They had some kind of weird launch engine thing combined with a cheat thing that would gank your whole system for a while. Yeah, I remember that. But what I don't remember is ever hearing an official total for the number of games that they sold. What are you talking about, Culture? What am I talking about? I'm talking about this. Larian came out and revealed how many copies of Baldur's Gate 3 have been sold. That's impressive. At the Vatican.
At the Vatican?
I was going to say, you got to close it out.
Yeah, they're selling them at the Vatican now?
I'm just saying. Wild.
The Pope must play.
The Pope must play. Yeah,
Pope's
well,
gonna
anyway,
have downtime too, right?
Okay, so when I saw this story, I'm like, somebody's going to want this.
I'm already naming myself Pope Awesome the First.
Pope Awesome the First. Your favorite cardinal is down with Baldur's Gate 3. Anyway, let's go into this. I thought that was great.
So awesome.
2 hours ago, this popped. So according to Larian Studios, a whole 2 copies of Baldur's Gate 3. They've been sold at the Vatican, with 1 copy currently on a citizen's wish list. Oh, wow. Now, of course... What?
That's even better to know that someone is there. Like, I really want to get it, guys. I really want to get it. But I just
someday I'm gonna get to that game.
I'm gonna play it. It'll be a great.
Anyway, so this game's over a year old. I enjoyed it. My 1 playthrough through. I was just done. But it obviously keeps gathering more fans and, according to them, rewards, cementing its status as one of the most influential RPGs of the last decade. No argument, since there have been very few that have actually come out. There's been a lot of games that re-released to different platforms, but other than that, I don't know what was the last, other than Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. What there wasn't a lot, right? Or is that just me?
What you talking about last year, or
no? Just RPGs in general. I mean, these large, massive AAA releases. There just haven't been a ton of them. I mean,
God of War Ragnarok was recent,
okay.
Pretty recent. And,
all right,
yeah,
all right, fair enough. Well, apparently, it's sold over 10 million copies soon after its release. Larian, that's a lot, by the way. Can I ask? There's a game that recently came out. We're going to talk about later. I think it's called it's like
Game of the Year?
No,
I think it's called Fail Hard.
So the Fail Hard. DragonAge the Fail Hard. Yes.
We are talking about Marvin's Game of the Year. Got it.
Yeah. Marvin's Game of the Year. That's right, Spencer. Anyway, this game sold 10 million copies. That game, maybe 700,000, maybe. Don't know.
I think you're grossly overinflating based on what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
217.
There's a series of articles from that Park Place that could reveal some of the.
We might talk about those here in the future. You don't know. Anyway,
just keeping us in suspense.
I am.
Also, guys, I just want to provide a quick update, a context update to this story.
Oh, okay.
There is a GameStop literally like a block over from the Vatican. So.
So is that included in the Vatican figures, or is there somehow someone who has set up their own location?
They're independent. It's like the guys who buy like Gatorade and then go outside of concerts and sell them to like people. They do that. They just go buy Baldur's Gate 3 and then roll a little stand into the middle of the plaza.
I actually think that I think you just misnamed that. It's a GameStop. It's not GameStop.
It's a GameStop.
Anyway,
it's not a GameStop. It's a GameStop.
Regardless, this thing did really, really well. It did I mean, when you start to get over 10 million copies, you're successful on a AAA title like this with as much as built into it.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah, but the fact that 2 people in the Vatican have bought Baldur's Gate 3. I'm just sorry. To me, that's amazing. And
it's got I'm gonna put a bet that one of them is like a nun who probably teaches like a Catholic school somewhere and saw her students like playing it and talking about it, and she was like, "Oh, that's a very cool. I don't have anything to do after mass. I will play the Larian game."
How do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I love it. This made me smile. I was hoping it would make you guys smile. And
the story itself is already great, and then the reveal of how many it was is fantastic.
but there's one on a wait list. There's 2 sold.
That
but
too,
there's one on a
yeah.
wait list.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
I put this game on a wait list.
I have the impure thoughts about the elf lady.
Yeah, and that bear. Oh, that bear. I'm just saying. All right. Anyway, that was fun.
I think it's a lady. Oh, I might have sinned twice.
All right. So it's not. So
You cannot
not,
tell with these games anymore.
Right. So as not to bury the lead, we have to talk about an RPG that maybe didn't do very well. Okay. Maybe people weren't super thrilled. Maybe it doesn't have a lot of long-term value. In other words, we're going to cover 3 stories about this game of the year for Marvin, DragonAge Veilguard. How do you feel about that, fellow kids?
I just have to say, leading up to the release of DragonAge Veilguard, I think there were still a lot of people with hope that this was going to be a good game, and it was just going to be a small portion of it that was this ridiculous propaganda, whatever you want to call it, or self-therapy session inserted into the lore here. I think that there was a chance that it was going to do well, and there was a lot of people who pre-ordered it saying, that's probably just something you could skip past real quick, right?
Yeah,
well, here we are.
There may have been somebody on this panel that did that. Look, at the end of the day, based on previous BioWare games,
the hopium was high.
Well, look, in previous BioWare games, there are entire party members that you can skip. You know, like I assumed that this was going to be more of a adventure that you build yourself, and if you wanted it to be like that super, all that stuff in there, then you could have done that. And if you wanted a different experience, you could. If someone talks about their pronouns, you could. There's probably an option to say that's dumb. But like, there's
not
none
in
of
this
that.
game.
No, not in this game.
You agree with everything, Marvin.
Yes. There's no option to disagree with anything in this game. You cannot be evil in any way, shape, or form either. Like, you can't really take evil actions.
Not even evil. You can't even be like you just said. You can't even like slightly be like disagreeable. Like if somebody says like I want to go get, if Tosh was like, oh, I want to go get Burger King for lunch, and you don't even have the option to say like, no, I don't like Burger King. Your only option would be like, I don't like Burger King, but we'll go for you.
I feel like the BK Lounge lived in your head there for a little longer.
It kind of did, Jonas. It was
nostalgic. So like, we're going
Oh.
through, and I answer something that's pretty innocuous, and then all of a sudden, I'm getting a lecture on cultural appropriation. And I'm like,
oh, did you try to go for the Lords? Did you try to go for the Lords of the Fortune? Was that it?
No, like I was talking to the Lords of Fortune, and they were like, "But we never take anything cultural.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to pillage another culture's identity." And I was like, "What?
Thieves Guild. It is a thieves guild that does not want to steal. It's so lame.
Like, where's my option to tell you that you're an idiot?" And then, like,
but also, Marvin, like literally the second after they say, "Oh, we don't steal. We only find like wreckage, and if it belongs to cultures, we get it back to them." The next like dialogue interaction is with Tosh, and Tosh says, "Hey, there's a bunch of elven crap around here that they don't need anymore. You want to go sell it?"
Yeah.
And like what you just told me, that's not what we're supposed to do, game.
But no, but then I got to the point where Tosh says something to me about like, being part dragon and part Canary and part whatever else. And I was, my options were like, say it must have been really hard to do that, or to say something like something else that was kind of like in the same vein. And so I picked one of the two options, and it was like, you have chosen to ensure, Tosh, that a multicultural background is a positive thing. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, that wasn't my intention. I don't disagree, but like, what?
Well, anyway, so one of the things that this game did not accomplish, you like my segue?
Yeah.
They did not. They did not accomplish satisfying a large number of players. Why do we know that? Well, we know that because this great story from that Park Place about unhappy DragonAge the Veilguard players reportedly demanded refunds in droves. Well, yeah. Yeah, they demanded refunds before the game came out, and then they demanded refunds after the game came out. And this comes from our friend Marvin, the Movie Monster, who wrote this story saying, sources close to BioWare and EA have reported that refunds for DragonAge the Veilguard have reached unprecedented numbers since the game launched on Halloween, which is a terrible day to launch the game.
Noon on Halloween, by the way.
Even worse.
Didn't get it at midnight the way we were supposed to. Got it at noon.
Yeah, you got a nooner. Yeah. Anyway, if one were to keep their media consumption to outlets like IGN for their everything's a 7 rating system, or Kotaku, that's true, or Kotaku, which is the outlet that's running out of authors, they might be led to believe that EA and BioWare's latest action-adventure RPG is an unmitigated success. The game received rave reviews from compromised sources, and many touted the incoming title's peak concurrent player count of a dismal 89,418 on Steam, despite never crossing the 100,000 threshold. However, sources close to the game's development have been coming out of the woodwork to spill the story of what's reportedly going on to a prominent independent YouTube personalities. Simply put, it's not looking good for the once popular studio. For example, Endymion has been covering the game's release extensively, and his sources claim that not only are fans demanding their money back after an unsatisfactory experience, they're demanding their money back in huge numbers. Now, what I enjoy about this and the detail that you go into, and also what they did over on Bounding, is they basically outlined what you're allowed to do as far as returns go. And we'll get to that in just a minute. But they had over 30,000 refunds in the last few days, said Endymion, which is not good for your game that has barely sold 500,000 copies. It's hemorrhaging players like crazy. That's true. The Steam platform allows players to return games within 14 days of purchase for a full refund. Now, guys, can you tell me how many games you've returned or name them specifically? Because I know I can tell you the games I've returned.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever returned a game.
I'm trying to think what I returned. It was something that the first one was great, and then the sequel was, I mean, really, really subpar. So I was
May
better
Cry
served.
2.
That might have been it. No, it was probably something that had Hideo Kojima's name on it, and then I didn't understand that he wasn't actually involved in the game.
Like he just gave a
Metal
review?
Gear Survive.
That would probably it, or Revengeance? Is that the?
That's the one with Raiden. Yeah, that's the action one.
Right,
I like that one, but it is very much not a Metal Gear game.
The only one that I returned was one of the worst third-person games ever made, which didn't present itself initially as a third-person game. The Order 1886, which I thought was dog doo-doo.
It was bad.
Yeah, I borrowed that one, so I didn't have to return it.
Me too. I returned it to the person I borrowed it from.
Yeah, you did better than me. I actually loaned it to somebody and never asked for it back. No, that's not true. I loaned it back to the game store for like $6, which we got a story about this. But I'm gonna say right now, I returned the game. I didn't finish the game. It was bad, and GameStop was happy to get it. Not at all. But go ahead.
I'll just go ahead and bring this chart up here. This is steady with signs of declining here. You would assume that people have more time on the weekends to play, but right here, 59,385. It's generally speaking, you would expect in the first little while people would be playing more. It looks like maybe November 3rd was that all-time peak right there, and now it's down to a cycle of up and down and up and down, and it's going down more and more. I don't expect more people to be playing this game at this point, and it sounds like The stores, the only game that I've ever seen somebody try to trade in and they didn't want a copy of it, other than sports games, because those are cyclical releases or whatever.
Yeah.
There was
And
a
they get,
local
like, 9
game
million of
store
them.
that Metroid Prime, they were like, we're not paying you more than $3 for Metroid Prime, because there were so many people who played.
Everybody bought it.
Everybody had it. Yeah, I don't. That's not an indication.
That's so crazy.
That's an indication of the popularity of Metroid Prime, and I'm talking.
Oh yeah.
After the fact.
No, that I'm not dismissing your story. I'm just sort of taken aback, because in my mind, all Nintendo releases are always like high in demand. So I would have figured at least 15.
Right. No.
That's just crazy to me.
I'm there with you. And eventually they got to the point where they just refused to accept copies. It just goes to show the popularity of that franchise. It went outside of the Nintendo audience in a way that I don't think even Nintendo was anticipating. So
yeah.
But Dragon Age, I mean, this is supposed to be the gold standard in this genre. Yeah. And here we are.
At one time, Jonas, at one time.
Yeah. But I mean, at one point, IGN had rated the game a 9 out of 10, and Eurogamer had rated it a 5 out of 5. And if you look at these numbers, and Jonas, that number is not quite half, or right around half, or just a little off of half of the all-time peak that it was able to muster 24 hours ago.
Yep. And we're talking within the last 2 weeks here. So
yeah.
This should be the point at which everybody is seeing the content online and going, oh, hey, all the early adopters have this, all the pre-order people, they have it. And wow, they're having a great time. I've got to get down on this action here. But no, that's not how this is going.
The sheer number of refunds that this game got is absolutely insane to me. And then you'll see, as we move through the stories, the replay value, the trade-in value, which I can't wait till we get to that, because that is like, if you're doubting, the sources that are coming forward and saying that like, oh, this game's not selling well, when you look at the trade-in value, which is, an indisputable fact, that then I think pretty much solidifies that this game is not doing well at all.
Yeah, and actually, you're actually leading us into that next conversation, which I truly appreciate, is this thing doesn't have value. We were talking about, games and things that didn't have value just a moment ago, and those didn't have value for like a real reason. Like everybody bought the game, so nobody, taking it back to the store wasn't a reality you could enjoy, because you weren't going to get anything for it because they had a billion copies there already. And again, not because the game wasn't popular, but in the case of DragonAge the Veilguard, it's practically worthless already, according to Marvin. Yeah, this Marvin guy's headline here from That Park Place. Yeah, he's saying that it's only been a week. Yeah, 13 total days, in fact, at this point in time.
It was 12 when I wrote it.
Yeah. So we're looking now at a trade-in value that's, well, let's read. Players are discovering DragonAge the Veilguard's trade-in value has plummeted only a week after release. It's no secret that the game's been having a rough go of it since launching on Halloween. Not only did the game fail to reach 90,000 concurrent players, when you say it that way, it's more impactful, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But inside sources allege that the game has barely moved 500,000 copies and has seen refunds skyrocket on digital stores.
See, for that culture, what I did there was I channeled my Asian mother-in-law, and instead of saying they got 89,000, I said they didn't get 90,000.
There you go. No, I think I really would like to meet your Asian mother-in-law. Anyway,
she's the best.
I'm also told.
Spencer gets it.
I do.
I'm also told in terms of refunds that currently the game has had at least 30,000 in the past few days, according to Endymion, which is not good for your game that's barely sold 500,000 copies. There you go. Most of those refunds likely came from digital stores like Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation, where they don't give you too much guff. These platforms allow players for a full refund within 2 weeks of purchase, as long as they have played less than 2 hours. So I'm just going to say it this way. The studios know this, and yet they could not entertain players for 2 hours with this game.
Nope.
The studio knew that. Probably that, plus the character creator area where you had the ability to cut things off or make things look like they were cut off or other
Well,
things that
like
don't seem
Marvin said,
reasonable.
you could, if you didn't want to engage with that stuff, you couldn't. But to that end, I want to ask you, Marvin, how like boring and bad is the first or like the intro to this game?
Pretty
Right?
bad.
It's like, yeah, that bad.
Especially if you played Inquisition, because you're just like, why are we doing this? Like, so wait, like essentially what you thought the game was supposed to be, hunting down the Dread Wolf, hunting down Solus. Immediately he's taken out of play. And he remains out of play for the entirety of the game. And now
he goes down in the very beginning.
Oh yeah. He gets trapped in the Veil in the first 10 minutes of the game, and he's just kind of there to like give you advice every once in a while
You're
between missions.
joking.
No,
oh my. I'm not even a Dragon Age fan, and I know that this is insane what I am listening to.
He releases the two elven gods, Elganar and Gillenane, from the Veil, and they are the main antagonists of the game.
Oh my.
Well,
hey, congrats, Dragon Age fans. You waited like 3 decades for this.
They retcon the blight, like everything it's just insane.
Yeah, well, more insane is the fact that you may have paid up to $60 on this game, and now,
just 60?
Well, I think it was, yeah, I think this was one of the rare. Well, you think it was 70? I thought it was.
I think
60.
this was a $70 game. Yeah.
Okay, well,
it's a $70 game.
All right,
it is a $70 game.
This
$70
is a $70
I just
game.
Googled it.
Okay, this is a $70 game that you can pick up at GameStop right now for the amazing price of $22.
Oh,
well, no, that's the trade-in value.
You can buy a digital edition for $60. You just wanted to throw that in there. But yes.
That's the trade-in. That's the trade-in
value? Oh, you can't pick it up for $22?
Yeah, you can't get it for 22. You can get up to, so if you have a pristine copy, and you have a GameStop manager who was in a good mood that day, the highest you can get is $22 for this game.
I misread that. I read that the wrong way. So wow, that's not as bad as it could have been. I mean, that's only, as you describe here, a 31.88% devaluation in 12 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. It's not great. Not great.
Especially when you compare, if you scroll back up to that thing up there, you could see some of the other games around it. You've got Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, which has been out for over a month, $33. It's the same as Tears of the Kingdom, which has been out for a year and a half. And as you scroll back down, I list a whole bunch of other games and compare it to, the valuation for traded. After only a week, it's insane.
Yeah, that doesn't look great.
Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has a trade-in value of $38.50 right now.
Wow.
I'm really glad I don't do business with companies like GameStop anymore. This is that's
what just to your point, Jonas, like when you guys were asking, have you ever traded back a game or whatever? Like, I've bought some stinkers in my time, right? But I've never traded anything back to GameStop because I'm like, it feels like an insult. It feels like I'm like begging them to slap me in the face. Like, please, can I get $5 for this game I paid $74 yesterday?
And if they give you a surprisingly high price for a game, it still means they're ripping you off.
Oh, 1,000%. So like I have a bunch of stinkers just sitting around because I'd rather Star Wars Squadrons is right here, but I'm not getting rid of that because it's worth. I mean, it's not worth more to me, but
no, I'm with you.
It's worth more than the gas to pay for the trip to GameStop.
There you go. What was that, Marvin?
So, what's your dignity worth at that point?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But now,
and besides, I get that $5 trade-in, and I just turn it around and give it to you for a Game Informer subscription. Come on.
Now, I mentioned at the end of the article, but Kevin Apollo's retail source, who is a retailer in a major shopping center. Now, he works in a sales region that has 7 stores. Among those 7 stores, now obviously you're not returning an open game just because you don't like it, but the trade-in, gift card return, so basically you're getting store credit or exchange rate on this game. Among those 7 stores, 75% came back.
That is a
wow.
stinker.
I'm gonna have to get you guys looped in on a video where we can talk about those sales numbers in detail. I feel like that's a subject that a lot of people would be interested in. But you know what I'd be interested, Jonas? I'd be interested in the super chats, and since you are the master of all things super, I
Sure.
want to see what the chat has to say.
I'm super. Thanks for asking, by the
Yeah.
way. Jacob Foxfires for $5. Look, when the modding starts kicking up for Baldur's Gate, the Pope can put in as many wholesome Christian mods as he wants.
It just started. They just started we didn't even cover that. That was the one aspect of the story I didn't cover over there. But
or Lupe, or what is it? The little precious moments thing that they're passing off as an anime character. They put that in the game, right?
Yeah, see.
Lucy.
Yeah. Hawaii Dragonstar for $5. I love the new DEI in another vid. Veilguard buyers are now non-binary and have become de-transactioners and now want to be refundees. Well said.
Wow.
Oh, that's
brilliant.
Good stuff. That's good.
$5 well spent, Hawaiian Dragonstar.
Radial Drago for £5. Tinfoil theory. I think the reason the journalists went after Baldur's Gate 3 is because they knew about DAV quality and they didn't want us to compare them.
Wow. So you think they knew that DragonAge the Veilguard was they already had the hat tipped to them when they were going after Baldur's Gate? That would make an awful lot of sense, actually.
I'm gonna build on this, but take it in a slight like right turn, because I don't know if I highly doubt anybody went out to them and was like, here's a full build of the game or whatever, and it's gonna look terrible. But I think that deep down they all saw the same warning signs we did. That at the very base, there's some level of I know this is bad and I can't ignore it. So they had to go. They went, okay, if we know inherently it's going to be bad, we got to go run defense for this really, really hard, really, really fast.
I think with games like this, it's hard to see, because I think there are people at the top who have a feeling about a game like this, that they would know that something is going to be a problem. And I mean, actually problematic for gamers, not just problematic in the sense of the word, how it's been used recently. I think there have to be people towards the top that know what to hide, probably the marketers specifically, because you notice Hogwarts Legacy comes to mind, a game that definitely has woke stuff in it. They have a voice 1, voice 2. You only use they, them pronouns. And a lot of the teachers are volunteering what their marital status is. The bartender they keep bringing up the bartender over and over and over again. Like, the people who marketed that game saw the uproar and they stayed away from it entirely. They were dead silent. And then the game made a whole bunch of money. It became a culture war token when it probably didn't deserve to be. So DragonAge, it seems like they leaned a lot harder into that. I don't know if it's the game clips or the fact that all of these websites ended up talking about how brave, bold, and beautiful it is. Of course, using that ironically here. In Baldur's Gate 3, there was something that was weird, and I think it kind of harkens back to the old Rockstar days, where there's something that you do for shock value as opposed to propaganda purposes.
Right.
I'm not defending the romantic choices in Baldur's Gate 3, but they do come off a little bit differently in light of DragonAge Veilguard.
Well, it's treated more in a fantasy game. It doesn't bring it into today's reality.
It's unbearable, though. Unbearable. Wild Man of Yavin for $5. I put in for a refund of DAV, couldn't finish it, and I very much so wanted to know what the story would be. We shall see if I get it or not. You could always just watch somebody else's replays.
Just watch somebody suffer. Just watch the suffering.
Yeah. Or if you wanted a job in either Hollywood or video game writing, you can just go read the wiki after and get the entire story there, and then you'll be good.
Wiki watch.
That's actually true.
Makini draws for 10. BioWare is having a steep hill to climb, and the decisive reception is exposing the disingenuous of outlets who are giving it high scores and putting it at GOTY contention, Game of the Year. Yeah, the only game that I really felt like should have been marketed as a Game of the Year was Arkham City back in the day. Everything else, I just realized they slapped that label on anything. It's a marketing term. So
I love the Arkham City Game of the Year cover. Like
Yeah.
the black and white one with just
Yeah.
all the like 10, 10, 10, 10.
Yeah.
This game's great. Like it's so gaudy, but for some reason I really like it.
If you saw the game and didn't know what it was, you would think it was called 10 out of 10 and had Batman in it.
There's Batman. 10 out
Games
of 10.
journalism simulator.
Yep. The Wild Man of
Does
the
this
Heavens.
game make you really feel like Batman?
I mean, Arkham City did. My goodness.
Oh, I was just making fun of how lots of game journalists, that's like their main compliment to a lot of games. Like Spider-Man 2 makes you feel like Spider-Man. Batman makes you feel, and it's like, what does that mean? Can you tell us anything? It means you're like Spider-Man. Great, go away.
Wild Man of Yavin for $5 more here. Colleague got a refund and he played halfway through, longer than 2 hours, obviously. So I'm crossing my fingers on this refund. I hope you get your money back. And, and then you can make the decision again when it costs $20 or less in some kind of humble bundle or something like that.
Well, no, man, when that thing makes it down to $7, that's when you think about it.
I just bought Civilization 4 again by accident. I saw a humble bundle.
I'm surprised you made it to the stream.
Well, I haven't installed it yet because when I do, I will lose months.
Dude, okay. So in the media room, I have a touchscreen computer in there, and obviously the TVs and everything. But when I'm watching something in there, like I like to play a game or have something going in the background or whatever, and I just re-downloaded Civ 4 on that computer, so I can play it.
Oh no,
it's hours of
the Jonas Culture Gaming Hour. Let's go. You guys have like 4 games to play together.
You realize how long I would play Civ 4. It would be like,
hey, one of us can play Sonic the Hedgehog, one of us can play Gandhi, but either way, we got to go fast. Machiny draws for $10. The media outlets are desperate to make this title the next Baldur's Gate 3, where Baldur's Gate 3 is now the standard for Western RPGs moving forward. You don't get the freedom of choice at all in DragonAge Veilguard.
No, it's not even an illusion of choice. It's like, and everybody's face is tired. Like they made sure.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Well, and not even that, but like even when you try to do like the stoic, like gruff responses, your character is still smiling stupidly.
I'm going to tell you right now that I'm what's the chick's name with the Commodore hat? That's crackers. That I'm
Isabella.
She was great in Dragon Age 2.
The lady who's always barving.
Yeah,
I like a hot pirate lady, but yeah, not when they barve.
Yeah, she was a big barber. Yeah.
Well, you got to stay in shape somehow. Machiny draws for $10. Outlets want this game to be. I'm not encouraging that, by the way. If we happen to have any underage girls that are watching this stream, you're beautiful just the way you are.
Yes, no barbing.
Machiny draws for 10. Outlets want this game so bad to have that success, reception, and impact as Baldur's Gate 3. When it misses, they miss the factors of being a great game. And Baldur's Gate 3 is now the yardstick for Western RPGs. But I'm going to let Machiny continue here. For $10 more, having a character that is so pushed at the forefront that acts like a child with Arrested Development, with everyone having to be on eggshells because they're using their identity as a shield. Also a gigantic person, if we're talking about that Kunari. Machiny draws for $5 more, is not the way to make an endearing LGBT character.
That's true.
Totally agree.
Very, very
One of my, while we're like, here's another one that kind of like another Veilguard thing that I've seen that kind of hits all of these points. So in the game, and Marvin can help me out here because I don't know all the characters' names specifically, but there is a necromancer. Do you remember his name?
No, because the characters are so unlikable and so not memorable that I don't remember any of their names.
Well, like that's what I'm kind of, well, like to your point, Marvin, I know that like that's the only trait he has. That's all anybody says about him is like, it's the necromancer. There's no like his character, he's cool, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, that's who he is. But there's a scene where
everybody's saying Emmerich in the chat.
Emmerich. Thank you guys. Yes, that's exactly who it is. So there's a scene where Tosh gets into like a little tiff with Emmerich and your character is standing there saying like, oh, what's going on? And it turns into this big spat where Tosh is like, I'm really uncomfortable with necromancy, even though like that's what Emmerich is all about. He talks about it all the time. Like that's his thing. So she goes up and she's like, I don't really like necromancy. It's so weird. Like it's so gross. and he tries to defend himself. He's like, but this is what I do or whatever. And basically the only option you have as the player is to navigate the conversation by getting Emmerich to stop being himself around Tosh. Like the resolution is like, well, Tosh is clearly uncomfortable, so you should, like, at least around her, don't do it. And I'm like, one, that goes to Marvin's point about how you can't disagree with anything. And two, it's also like, this is the same character who you BioWare writers have spent so much time focusing on, like, their identity, and we must accept them, and they're non-binary, and everybody should just move on with their lives. And now you have them going, hi, accept my way of life, I don't accept yours, get out of my face. And I'm just like, do you guys realize what you did? Like how unintentionally you sort of hit the culture war on the head?
Yeah, but you're not, see, Spencer, I mean, you're not understanding. From their perspective, they're right.
Oh, I mean, but they are objectively right. I mean, after this, I'm going to a struggle session. I needed to point that out.
Hey guys, get 3 guesses as to what race and gender Emmerich is.
And sexuality, Marvin.
He is a white male.
He's a straight white male. Even worse. There's also a character whose, like, entire thing is just about coffee. Like, this game was written by people who...
He keeps talking about coffee, and I'm like, we're in, like, the Middle Ages in a fantasy world. How do you have coffee?
It's not even, like, I could assume that maybe there's, if you really wanted to, you could introduce some old school coffee brew, but you'd probably call it something else if you're being in fantasy. But also, like, a character writing like that, where it's like, what's your personality? Coffee. I love coffee. It's like, did the writers emerge from 2009? Like, what is this? That's not, it's funny. That's not endearing.
Because they're talking the way the writers talk.
Right, exactly.
You didn't get to the end game. That character gets their own little Starbucks.
I'm so happy for him.
Goes from being an assassin to owning a Starbucks.
That's a barista. A barista.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, also, like, every villain is a white man. Like, even when it seems like the villain is a woman, it's a white man. And if it does end up being a woman, it's a white woman. It's just so on the nose.
It's also very cliche at this point, and very boring and tropey, and I get it. I guess I'm just equal opportunity here, that anyone could be the villain. But if you're going to have a physically imposing villain, maybe make them a large man, maybe,
or like a large female dragon. There you go.
There you go. The Wild Man of Yavin for $2. Civ 7 next year. Yes, caps.
Yeah, well-deserved caps, in my opinion. But hey, I'm weird.
Maybe we can play that one. I like Civ a lot. Alpha Centauri, probably my favorite. Although
that's kind of fun, right? Yeah.
Love that one. Machiny Draws for $5. DragonAge Veilguard is the video game equivalent of Gina Carano's struggle session.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct. And ambushing somebody to try to teach them, it's no fun to show up to something that's not supposed to be educational, or in this case re-educational, and then finding out that no, we're going to have a lesson here. No, nobody likes that. No one wants to pay $70 and drop 400 hours on it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go to woke seminary every time I watch something or play something. Thank you.
A tipping bar
but
for
you have
$1.99.
to. You're a straight white man. You must repent.
I look white, but
that's all that matters.
Okay.
Hell, I don't even look white, and I count as white, because that's what Asians are these days.
Yeah, you're white adjacent.
Exactly.
You got downgraded, bro. What happened?
I couldn't do math. They tossed me out. That wasn't even a woke decision. That was just like the Asian council got together and said, he can't solve this equation. Get him out of here.
A tipping bar for $1.99. A game set in fantasy Seattle sounds awful, but what if it was an episode of Frasier?
I mean, I love Frasier.
What if it was The Division starring Frasier? I'd play that.
Oh my, that would be amazing.
I would watch.
Niles, I need you over here to lay down covering fire.
I would watch the heck out of medieval Frasier. If it was like Arthurian Frasier, like I'm there.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Only if they still do it in the 3-camera sitcom.
Of
format.
course, of course.
Wait a minute,
That
wait a
is an
minute.
that is an
No,
elevator
no.
pitch that gets my money.
No, Halo with Frasier.
I don't
And
want
who-
any more Halo on television. We saw what happened. I don't even trust Frasier to save it.
We saw way too much of what happened in Halo. Yes.
Yeah, we saw way too much.
Way
of
too much
Halo.
face.
Baculi draws for $5. Also, as Endymion pointed out, every faction leader is LGBTQ, whereas
Yep.
the villains are all white. It's
Yeah,
just
no,
boring at this
The
point.
faction leaders are
you know?
the faction leaders
that
are
for
all stunning
real?
and brave. Yeah, no, they're all stunning and brave women, except for the Grey Wardens. You meet the head of the Grey Wardens, and he's a dude, and I'm like, oh, cool. One of them's a white dude, and he's awful, and like and you have to like depose him to replace
Really?
him with a stunning and brave female.
I was gonna say, who do you replace him with? Do you replace it with
A
you or
stunning and brave
somebody else?
female.
Yeah, of course. That's incredible.
And I just have to point out while we're talking about this to see where this all intersects. Andrew is the CEA. Sorry, the C. you see where my brain went. The CEO of Electronic Arts, and currently he is in the mix for running the Walt Disney Company. So
That's awful.
truly awful. Disney had thought about buying Electronic Arts or merging with Electronic Arts back in the day.
You're gonna get
and-
microtransactions in the park.
Yeah, that was their solution to everything.
You want a
So,
spoon for your Dole Whip? $1, please.
well, they'll give you a spoon. It'll just be an insulting spoon. But if you want the real spoon, there you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Yeah, Jacob.
But before
Foxfire.
you go in, you can pre-order the deluxe park hopper ticket for normal access.
But if you get it on the day of, well, then it's even more. Jacob Foxfires for $10. By the way, Spencer, you essentially said something that was correct, whether or not you realize it. Jacob
Oh boy!
Foxfires
Oh
for 10.
boy!
If we take the idea of medieval ages being what fantasy stories are, coffee did not exist as it was. Coffee wasn't introduced until the Renaissance, which is probably why they got so much done back then. Best you got is tea, and that was for the rich.
Yeah, like on Game of Thrones, I don't remember Ned Stark being like, I just can't get up in the morning without the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Well, also the idea of dependency when you're dealing with rampant poverty, you probably, I mean, alcohol is a thing. I get it, but that's more of a, people died early from being working themselves to death. So it's more of a medicinal thing as opposed to waking up every morning and, thinking, I need my coffee. No, you need to get to work or you're going to be whipped. I'm talking about regular people, by the way, not the particular class.
You need to play the Veilguard, okay? You're clearly not
Yeah,
in
you
the
need
right
work,
mindset.
bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
That's gonna be.
You
if
need
you
work.
wanna-
You need work.
I can
And,
see. I
but-
can see companies that need to do that want to do sensitivity training, forcing you to play the Veilguard, and they'll
Oh,
monitor your
no.
decisions.
And then
By the way,
like when you have your
I
next
just
all
have to
hands on
point this
meeting, they
out.
do the thing that all the companies do where it's like, here's what I'm very disappointed. I have all the stats. You all created like straight humans. You're all fired.
And one of the great diverse voices of our time, Mavis Beacon, is in the chat. Are they high?
Oh my-
Disney deserves
We
it.
need the typing.
Oh, I love it. Thank you very much. Culture. I'm sorry I took over there a little bit there on top of doing the super chats.
I've enjoyed every moment of our show today.
Really, this
especially
is
the last
this is a blast. I love this
Yeah.
live stream.
I know this is one of those things where I'm like, there's people watching us be goofy. I love it. It's fantastic. Speaking of being goofy, though, there was a game that they decided to remaster. Every time I hear the word remaster now, I'm terrified. I don't know about the
I don't
rest of
feel
you
good
guys.
about it ever.
Yeah, it used to be like, oh, that's cool, and now it's like, oh no.
Oh boy, I get to play my new favorite game with like better graphics and better controls. And now it's like, oh, I get to play my favorite game with worse graphics and worse controls. But here's 7 plot lines about contemporary socio-political issues. Awesome.
Yeah, which let me tell you, doesn't seem to be going down super well. What are you talking about, Culture? I'm talking about Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Herman Hulst is in so much trouble.
dude, this is a big oof. Okay, like this was a huge game, and now you made it a big oof. Oof. Yeah.
Oof.
What's the video meme? Ooh, brother. Ooh. Yeah, that's what this is right here. It's not doing well on PS5 anyway. I don't blame anybody for not trying to rebuy this disaster. This was an exclusive, and this thing came out and nobody's playing it. And on PC, Horizon Zero Dawn Remasters was outperformed by the original game. Nobody was interested in it a second time around.
And you get a discount on that remaster.
True.
Here's the thing about this remaster. One, like I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, and I'm gonna say yes, there is a sizable Horizon fan base. Lots of people like Horizon. I know I don't. I know a lot of us here probably don't. I know a lot of our viewers right now don't. But there's a sizable chunk of players out there who do. The thing is, this is like Horizon's one of those long single player games that unless you're a dedicated fan of a series, you probably won't go back and check out, right? Like for example, I play, like the Metal Gear Solid games. You can go through those once and you'll probably be good with them. I go through them every year, but that's because I am a huge like MGS Hideo Kojima fanboy. So with that in mind, we also, like, if you guys remember, everybody who wanted to play Horizon probably already got the chance to, because not only has this game been out for years, but it was bundled with consoles forever. If you bought a PS4, you got Horizon. So people have already checked it out. If they wanted to play it, they probably already have and gotten through it. And in the era of games coming out all the time that are all 40 hours plus, who's going to go, yeah, I'm going to go back and pay $60 to go, or 10, whatever, if you had the upgrade. I'm going to go back and spend all that time on a game I played already, unless I super love it, which not a lot of people do, except for it might only be Herman. Maybe what do you call it? Baldur's Gate 3 sold more copies in the Vatican than this did, because it's only sold to Herman.
Well, wow. The thing that I want to point out, Herman Hulst is the head of Sony Interactive Entertainment. It's a two-hander. They have two CEOs, but the one that is in charge of the studios is Herman Hulst. And he came up from Guerrilla Games, so I'm gonna guess he has a soft
Aloy's his waifu.
One might assume at this point he feels paternalistic towards her in the same way that they joke that you would feel paternalistic towards Lara Croft when they turn her into a little girl instead of a grown woman. I think that this is a person who has been indulged for far too long and allowed to indulge himself for far too long. And that he's making a lot of really expensive mistakes all at one time. Horizon, of all the games to do a Lego version of, I don't know why they're doing one of Horizon when you have like a Ratchet and Clank out there, which is clearly a more child-focused brand, or a Sly Cooper, if we want to go over to Sucker Punch. They have so many more brands that are more predisposed to the audience there, but they chose Horizon. Or the fact that they are remastering a game and they choose Horizon. Who is the CEO of this portion of the company? Well, the guy who used to work on Horizon. Who was the one who was the huge champion of Concord? Herman Hulst.
Oh,
so yeah. And I might be getting his name wrong in all of this.
It doesn't matter. He's really his job.
I see so much money put towards trying to make this happen, and I've played it. It was an RPG, but it didn't have any of the classic RPG elements that I really wanted to see. There's some cool art design in the games, but it was done in a way that I just did not appeal to me. It was too much time thinking about menus and loadouts and things like that, and watching a depressed little orphan girl eventually prove to everybody that she's better than them is just not something that I really wanted to see. So I don't understand why you base so much of your company's funding on this character right here. Ooh, there's Astrobot. Love that one.
Yeah, it's really weird when you look at this and you use The Last of Us Part 2 remastered as the benchmark, which they've done here. It's very, very telling. It's very telling. I thought Astrobot.
Had less than. Oh no, that's Until Dawn. Never mind. I was going to say less than Concord.
I was wondering what was going on with Until Dawn right there. They should have announced a Ghost of Tsushima upgrade of some kind, any kind of upgrade. Another bit of DLC for that game would sell.
You realize that for some reason YouTube sent me a short which was 3 minutes long. That was just a promotion commercial for Ghost of Yotai, which was supposed to be a sequel. Which
was it from like a user, or was it like the official?
I don't know. I feel like it might have been a sponsored short. Normally, I'm normally I'm cruising the shorts, and I'm just like looking for stuff that whatever falls in my wheelhouse. But I was like, this guy is a lying POS. I'm like,
okay, so it was like. Because that's what I was wondering. Is like, were you like scrolling and or they sent you one that was like very clearly check out this game?
Yeah,
now I get it. Now I get what you're saying.
He was like a pure shill. I was like, bro. He's like, oh no, this is this great sequel to this wonderful thing. He's like, wait, why did they say Yotai? And then he's trying to explain it. Well, that's the mountain that's in the background. Da, 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 da. And it's like, oh, I can't wait to see a sequel to Jin Sakai's story. Oh yeah, this is going to be wonderful. It's 300 years after Jin Sakai. And I was like, it's not a sequel, bro. You bring in a chicken to replace the dude that we were following in the first place. It's not a sequel.
I mean, his story's done. So I don't know. I disagree with that, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, that is super shilly.
Yeah. And I was like, but I mean, every single one of those things, I'm like, bro. So anyway, that takes us all the way away from that. People are just done with this kind of stuff, right?
People can see through it. Oh yeah, 100%. Just like what we saw, not to get like hyper political, but just like we saw with the recent election, big endorsements, like people telling you want this is good, doesn't work, especially if it's an influencer, a celebrity. Like nobody trusts that anymore. It's not a winning strategy. It's almost a red flag, honestly, like a glaring, glowing red flag that defies physics that doesn't exist yet. Because I mixed up 7 metaphors there.
Yeah, well, it worked. It worked. I don't know. I think this game is just one of the most telling things you're going to find about what's happening in modern game studios. They don't have new ideas. They don't have creativity. They're locked into some very poor ideas and choices. And I just want to say thank you to Game Rant for exposing that, which you rarely do. Anyway.
It is surprising when you see one of the mainstream sites actually like come out and call something out. It's like, oh, check didn't clear this week, did it?
No. Well, we've got at least one more story to get to, which means we need Jonas to do the magic with the super chatty things.
Jonas.
Yep. The Wild Man of Yavin for $2. Only real gamers gave DragonAge Veilguard a try. Oh, don't put that evil on me. No. I still want to go back and play Super Mario Brothers Wonder again before I would ever touch DragonAge Veilguard.
Speaking of Super Mario Brothers, Jonas, we've got a review coming out, I believe today, of Super Mario and Luigi Brotherhood by our very own Nolan Thunder. So
yes.
Oh, I love that. And I think there was an article that he was working on talking about some of the items that have been uncovered in the Nintendo Museum. So I'm really hoping that one sees the light of day soon. Mockety Draws for $5. Okay, new bylaws. All games need to be at least 10 years old to qualify a remaster and at least 15 years to qualify for a remake. And even farther if it has already been remastered.
Dude, I think we start enforcing these on all studios. I think we have to.
I think
make it so, because I bought the Last of Us 1 like 5 different times.
Yeah.
But don't you just want to see all the little hair follicles on Ellie's eyelash? That's why. Give me $80 more for that.
Mockety Draws for $2. Why Lego Horizon and not Lego Concord? Oops. But there will be Concord in secret levels sometime.
We are so excited for that episode. I can't tell you.
Let me spark a speculative hope in all of you as well along that lines. Right. So at least from what I've heard, and I think I heard this from Jonas, or at least I've talked about it with Jonas, and if I haven't, well, then I'm just making up conversations with my friends. But at least of my understanding, the Horizon Lego game, while it is Horizon centric, obviously, it's, Lego games got to have a big roster, and there's only 3 characters in that game, so they're going to be including a lot of PlayStation. So if it's going to be a lot of PlayStation characters, given the development times and everything and the windows, could we see a Concord character in Lego Horizon? I think there's a good chance, and it would be hilarious.
Jonas,
this is the thing that I saw, and when they advertised it, we talked about this on a live stream because we watched the PlayStation State of Play.
Oh, that's right. Okay, then it was us. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, they did this string of Ratchet and a few other PlayStation characters bouncing along as Legos. So if you can unlock them in the game, that's one thing. But if it's a game where you're going through all the different, I don't know, the Lego games are supposed to be that you replay all of these things as a weird and funny Lego thing, as opposed to this, which I don't think most of the audience for a Lego game would be interested in. By the way, I'm calling it now. I think that the remaster of Harry Potter collections 1 and 2 are going to do better than Lego Horizons. Just calling that now.
Easy.
Okay, Jonas, we have breaking news. You have a story we need to talk about. We don't have much time. I'm playing the thing. I played the thing.
What's the story? Morning Glory.
The Kotaku thing.
What's the word, Hummingbird?
You have the story. Share the story.
I don't have the story. Is
Who
this
has
a
the
professional
story?
live stream?
It
I don't
was,
think
I
it's a
assumed.
professional
We are
live
not YouTubers.
It is currently the lead story on that Park Place. Hold on.
Yep.
It's about to
Yeah,
be
it's
the
right
lead
here.
story.
I've got it. I was stalling for time as I was asking questions. Alyssa Mercante
Oh.
bounces from Kotaku as gaming website she led is decimated with layoffs. This by M. Montenero. Like that name. Perhaps he lives in the Vatican. While things might be looking a bit different. While things might be looking a bit differently professionally for Alyssa Mercante, the future doesn't seem bright for the video game news site Kotaku. What is this website? I don't think I've ever been there. Recently, a series
many
of
have.
layoffs.
Look at this upstart. Always good to see a new face in journalism.
Yep. Recently, a series of layoffs hit the already bare bones outlet just as its senior editor, Alyssa Mercante, left for new opportunities. If you thought a captain goes down with her ship, Mercante somehow managed to do so and jump aboard another sinkable vessel. The layoffs were sent down by
Beautiful.
Kotaku parent company Go Media. Just a year almost to the day that the company made a series of cuts across various outlets it owns. Really,
I thought
when
that
it
was
comes
really
down
an
to it-
interesting part of this is that
Yeah.
a year ago, like literally a year ago, almost to the day, they laid off 23 people, including their editorial director and including layoffs from Kotaku. So it's like every November they have like fall cleaning.
Yes, they do a capital assessment. How long can we survive? Okay. At current staff levels. Okay. If we reduce, okay. Then they reduce. And then a year after that, they have to reassess and go, okay, how long can we survive at current capital levels? So.
I also Kotaku Australia shut down, and she had to release a post saying that no, that's not me. They have nothing to do with us, but you guys are bad anyways. Kotaku fired writers Willa Rowe and Moises Tavares after hiring them earlier this year. At the same time, Kotaku's senior editor Alyssa Mercante, perhaps the most well-known member of the Kotaku team, due to a series of public battles against prominent YouTube personalities, announced that she was also leaving the publication. Since then, Mercante seems to have landed a writing role with Rolling Stone, authoring a piece on Halo 2's development. Yes, she did. Staying up with the times there. Work news.
I was gonna say, what year is this? Halo 2's development? What's left to know?
Well, you got to know.
Yeah, it was like a history piece.
Yeah, it was
for your
it
next
was
LAN party.
It was tumultuous.
Yeah, we're also going to be doing a review
that in
of Surge,
2008.
the channel, sometime soon. Perhaps Tab. Work news. After exactly 2 years, I've decided to leave Kotaku as my role as senior editor. Mercante wrote on X. I am eternally grateful for Kotaku's editorial team and all that they taught me during my time here. Ooh, Be careful. They are some of the best in the business, and I will be forever proud to have shared a masthead with them. Speaking of sinking ships, they continuously fight to maintain the editorial pillars that make Kotaku great. Be careful. Be careful. You're wandering very close to a political slogan there, and hold on to their journalistic integrity.
They couldn't use that slogan because that slogan requires something to have been great at one time.
Fair enough. Hold on to their journalistic integrity in the face of increasing pressure to compromise that. She also added, "It's been a long few months during which I've learned a lot about myself and my value as both a woman and a writer. This is the right decision for me. I have some things coming down the pike, so keep your eyes peeled." However, Mercante noted that her departure had nothing to do with the layoffs. She stated that she'd given her notice to the outlet before the layoffs went into effect. Since then, she's rekindled her
I personally
feud
don't know if I was just saying, I personally don't know if I believe that part, but that it is not my place as a journalist to question in such a regard without proof. So that's what streams like this are for.
Yeah. I mean, we can all speculate about the fact that it was right before the layoffs happened.
Yeah.
And that she is yet again wanting to make sure that everyone knows that she was not laid off. So, timing is timing. But since then, she rekindled her feud with Smash JT. Mercante has vowed to bring legal action against the popular commentator as their online war of words escalates. Full disclosure, that Park Place is legally represented by Dylan Law Group and attorney Ron Coleman, who likewise represents Smash JT. The Kotaku layoffs don't seem to be sitting well with the company's staff. And this is a strange form of Twitter here called Blue Sky. Go Media.
Yeah, I tried to find it. I tried to find a tweet on this from her, and I sifted through just endless political posts trying to see if she posted it on Twitter too, and I couldn't find it. So I had to go with the Blue Sky one.
Yeah, Blue Sky. I do have an account on Blue Sky. If anyone wants to follow me over there,
as do I.
But
I do
it's.
Not.
I'm gonna what is it?
I'm
not gonna Blue Sky you. I'll follow you over there, Spencer. We can bring some sanity.
You'll sky world. Me. I don't know what it is over there.
Sounds like Skype. Management mandated that some writers stick to service posts, and now that the numbers aren't panning out, surprise, surprise, 2 of those writers have been laid off. Cruel and misguided.
This is somebody that still works for the company, by the way, I believe, because she's the managing editor at Kotaku, Carolyn Pettit.
Maybe she was sad she didn't get severance. Go Media's management.
Why would she need severance when she made so much money working with Anita at Feminist Frequency?
Mm-hmm.
In case you guys
didn't know. Is this one of them? Yeah.
There were 3 public-facing members of Feminist Frequency: Anita, Carolyn, and then a black chick whose name I cannot remember at this moment.
Yeah,
Campbell there.
Oh, God, I had to think for a second. No, but I need to verify, because if that is it, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she was part of that.
The loss of these writers plus Mercante brings Kotaku's full-time staff.
Okay, it's not her, but she probably wrote for them. But you scared me so much, Marvin.
Yeah,
they're down to 6 people altogether. That is okay. That doesn't seem like it would take a lot to keep that going with the revenue they should be able to get if they just write articles on a consistent
6
basis.
People of Kotaku, they should be. Yeah, there's no. How are they in that? If okay. Sorry, I'm there's 7 different complaints going through my head, because as an editor for a news website, Marvin, you're learning this now. It's if they were just doing Kotaku's got a massive position in the video game sphere. Unfortunately, we just have to admit that. That's just a fact. Lots of people see it. Lots of people use it. If they were just writing and they were doing news and they weren't huffing their own farts all day, this would be a massively profitable enterprise. So the fact that they are struggling to the point where now they can barely operate with 6 employees, that makes me. I will give me the budget you have, Kotaku. I would love to pay my writers that money, and they're actually producing work. This is absolutely bonkers. It's that's all I have to say about it.
And when you have people who are actually interested in video games, it's not that hard to make a game guide.
It shouldn't be.
50 guides per week. I don't know what the definition is here. I'm assuming it's not complete guides per week.
But I mean, this is a place that's got, an editor-in-chief, a managing editor, a senior editor. That's 3 of them right there. I don't understand where all their money
Well,
goes.
and they still have problems with grammar and spelling, but that's a whole
Yeah.
other conversation.
And with content production, if you would think if I had 3 editors at that level working with me, I've only got 1 right now. I would be pumping things out all day, every day. Like they only they produce like 3 or 4 articles a day. I'm not, the metrics aren't aligning here.
And you guys need to go check out this article. It's the front of that Park Place. It's right. It's the featured article, and you need to go check out the work there that Marvin is doing. It is fantastic.
Yeah, you do.
Work. We need to wrap this show up because we're going to lose culture. We're going to lose the culture if we don't keep moving forward, and also Culture Casino. But we got some super chats here that we want to get before we do that. The Mum for $1.99 needs a remake or remaster of Mega Man Legends.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Don't even get me
You are
started.
correct.
I will lose my mind right now.
It's one of my
Yes,
soapbox
I want him off the
things.
moon.
Okay,
I
just
love that
so-
the Mum keeps bringing up Mega Man. I love it.
Yes, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, the Mum. Yes, sir, you are correct. I appreciate you.
Capcom has 2 games that I'm just like, what are you waiting for? Give me just give me a port of it at this point. Mega Man Legends and Breath of Fire 3.
It is insane to me
All
that
right.
Breath of Fire has never gotten a collection. I know we're talking about Mega Man, and that's where most of this energy is coming from because I'm a huge Mega dork. But like the Breath of Fire 3 thing, I never understood. Just make like there's like 4 of them. Throw them together. Throw them on a Game Boy cart. You're done.
Yep.
There are indeed 4 of them.
And I mean, honestly, they could make an anime out of Breath of Fire. I don't understand. That was my first exposure.
But we
to
gotta
RPGs.
make Street Fighter 6 DLC.
Yep. Jacob Foxfires for $5. They decided Aloy would be the face of Sony, and oof, what a face. Meanwhile, as the few Gravity Rush fans, I'm more depressed. Cat will never see the light of day again. No,
I just wanted to interject because you guys have all probably heard me tell the story before, but it's my favorite thing to note when we talk about Horizon and why is it being pushed so much and Herman Hulse. So if you guys like to Jonas, like to all of our points about how nobody cares about Aloy, Genshin Impact a few years ago, they did a collaboration with Sony where they added Aloy to the game. You could get Aloy as a character in Genshin Impact. They ended the event early because nobody was engaging with it. So to this day, you cannot get a full maxed out Aloy. It's not possible because they ended it early. Like, so if that's not a compass of how little people care about Horizon, I genuinely don't know what is.
If you'll forgive me, my dog is going nuts. Culture, can you get?
I hear him. Woo!
Sure thing. Let's see.
He heard the Mega Man talk, and he's like, "Give me Legends now."
Yeah, want Legends right this moment. Thank you. Yeah, we've got so I'm with you. According to Jacob Foxfires, I think they did make a huge mistake. Jeremiah Hambry for $2 worth of quarters. Thank you for that. Says, are you in comics? Are you doing a movie tonight? I have not been able to confirm with comics as far as I'm concerned. We are. I think it's Blazing Saddles on
Joker
tonight.
too.
Yeah, on tonight's gold tier and higher members for my channel, and it's suckers with a lot of dough, I guess. So you'll have to check into the community tabs to confirm that. I'll probably let that go here in the next couple of hours. And finally, T. Neal 89, our friend from the other side, because he dislikes puns, for $5 says maybe Kotaku uses Workday in their business infrastructure, or maybe it doesn't. I'm just sour because I have to use Workday and it frequently blows up. Yes, I've heard that it's not a great work product.
We're just getting some good quality ranting from.
Yes,
from
today's rants have been exemplary. Speaking of exemplary
using the
things,
10th super chat to do that too.
That's right. And speaking of exemplary things, one last thing of note. We had incredible support today from our wonderful folks here in the chat, and we've updated the tote board. Today, we had me not uploading the right tote board.
We still love you, Culture. We still love you. But we do have to run because you have to get to Mr. H Reviews.
You got to write it out
here has to be redirected to Mr. H Reviews.
I know, and I have done a lousy job of setting that redirect up. I hope
I set it up. It's okay.
Oh, thank you, Jonas. Speaking of which, I'm going to say goodbye. Everybody else, listen to these guys. I will see you next week. Thank you for your support. You're amazing.
And that seems as good a time as any to say everyone needs to go subscribe to Foil Variant, Spencer's channel.
Hey, those guys.
On Marvin, you're all over the place. You pick your poison here. Where do you want to send
man
people?
Here?
Oh gosh, guys, we have new content on Tooneytown TV almost every day at this point. This week is going to be a little rocky just because I'm getting my feet wet with the new position here. But check that out. Also, join us on Thursday night at 8 p.m. EST for Toonie Talk TV. Spencer should be there. I'll be there. A whole bunch of us will be there. We'll be talking about all the pop culture goings on of the week in a really, really fun environment. It's my favorite time of the week. And also, guys, make sure you're bookmarking that Park Place. We've got articles going up every single day, multiple times a day, from writers like myself, like Culture Casino, Nolan Thunder, WW Pro, Lauren Connor, Lou Osman's Ghost, Martin Stone. So many amazing, talented people all contributing to thatparkplace.com. So if you're not bookmarking it yet, you should, if you want to keep up with all the news that should be fun, Jonas.
That's perfect. And all I have to say is, well, I gotta go talk to my dog and
now get out of here.